Former ECB chief Mario Draghi is sounding the alarm, warning Europe that it's already lagging behind and will not keep pace with the United States and the Chinese economies if nothing is done. Therefore, to stay competitive, the European Union will have to find 800 billion euro per year for investment and fundamentally change the way it does business. Now, joining me here in the studio to discuss is State Secretary at the Polish Ministry of Funds and Regional Policy, Jan Szyszko. Hello, and thank you very much for joining us on World News Tonight.
Hi, pleased to be here.
So, this massive amount of money, 750 to 800 billion euro per year, that's up to 5% of GDP throughout the European Union. Where do we find the money?
It's a lot, and at the same time, it might not be enough. I mean, Draghi, with this report, what he's done, he's taken an X-ray of EU economic policy, which has so far been focused on increasing and stimulating competitiveness inside the bloc. And right now, he's saying, okay, this is working fine, but it's not good enough when we look at the US, when we look at China, and we actually have to look for the EU to be more competitive globally, externally. That's a new look, but that's something that's really needed. When you look at the GDP statistics, the European Union 20 years ago, it was rivaling to be the #1 economy of the world. We were ahead of the US. Right now, we are battling to be the third, defending ourselves against China. So, I mean, we are losing distance to the biggest economy in the world right now, and we do have to think how to be more competitive, knowing that our market is and will be more fragmented than the one of the States, and I mean even more so than one that the Chinese have, with a completely different system.
From some viewpoints, it looks like either further integration will be needed, a decision is going to have to be made for the European continent. Either move closer together or stay fragmented. I'm just going to give you one statistic. Compared to the United States, GDP per person employed is down 10 points over the last decade, from 77% to 67%. And if we look at that per hour, it's down also 10 points, from about 81% to 71% today. Therefore, it seems like Draghi's words that we've ignored this for a long time, and if we don't do something about it, it's going to be really difficult to catch up. What do you think, in your opinion, does the European Union as a whole need to do to make itself more competitive globally?
Well, we need to take bold investment decisions. We need to invest more than we ever did before, and we have a sort of a two-channel road ahead of us. The first one is increasing the competitiveness. That's deregulating, making life easier for big companies that are the ones that are big today, and for the economies that are developed today. That's investing in, well, to put it, it's simplistic, but often true, investing in the great firms of the most developed economies, such as the French and the Germans. At the same time, we also need to invest even more than we did so far in the European SMEs, the small and medium companies, on which the economies, like the Polish one, are built and stand today. So we need to give those companies a chance to become big European companies and then rival with competitors from the US or China, because it's only when Europe uses the potential of all its inhabitants, of all its regions fully, to the full capacity, only then Europe will be able to compete globally. We won't do it only using the potential of the regions and of the countries that are developed today.
And policy-wise, based on the trajectory that we're currently heading, do you think that they have identified the proper industries that need investment and that is going to indeed take place?
Well, I don't think it's a question of identifying 3 or 4 industries on the European level and saying, hey, look, guys, this is what we're going to be good at. It doesn't work like that. We need to have a multi-sectoral approach and use also the traits or the benefits that we already have nationally. We know that Dutch companies are great at microprocessors. So there are some interesting startups in Sweden, and we also see some battery production or health startups are growing and raising in Poland. So perhaps we need to look on national level what areas of expertise are being developed or are developed already today, and then on the European level invest in deregulating, in better and easier state aid to those companies to make their life easier. Fighting for European influence in the world, to use the big words.
Now, where is this money going to come from? I posed that question at the beginning. The EU should move towards regular issuance of common safe assets to enable joint investment in projects among member states and to help integrate capital markets. Some say this is a controversial move towards Eurobonds. Do you think that this will, the French will agree, the Germans will agree, or some other major players in Western Europe will agree?
And the Dutch and the Danes and the northern members of the European Union. Well, the good news is that Europe has already done a milestone in raising new money by calling and setting into life the Recovery Fund in 2021. So things that seemed impossible 5 years ago happened and seemed to be achieved just a year or two after that. But we do need more national input or national investment into the common European budget. And yes, we probably do need more European level debt in order to facilitate those investments. But I mean, development doesn't grow on trees. It doesn't just come out of nowhere. Look at the States. I mean, the IRA, the unprecedented developmental package that President Biden has successfully implemented in the United States. It also came in with a record state intervention and unprecedented investment that also originated in further debt. So we need to be bold. The trick lies in actually having the debt taken for smart investments and not being splashed out like helicopter money, because then that doesn't make sense.
So you think the precedence for that was the European Recovery Act, due to the COVID pandemic. Concerning regulations, because, well, actually this is just a very general question, but it says something about the European Union. One of the large cellular phone producers is releasing a new model today, and there's a very different version from what is going to come out in Europe than from the United States.
Yeah.
And in fact, you can look at this from two different angles. The one that will be released in Europe will actually give you more freedom to get away from this company's own software, hardware monopoly, yet at the same time, some of the most advanced features such as AI will not be included for European countries. So the question is, does the regulation as such, which sometimes can hurt the development of technologies, is that standing in the way of innovation here on the European continent?
We need to find a balance for the European way of growth. We need to find a balance between protecting the consumer and stimulating growth in Europe. Consumer protection in Europe is at the best level, and it's a model globally. And we really do need to cherish that and protect that. At the same time, we need to we need to make life easier for the big companies to innovate in Europe, indeed. So the good example is actually the cellular operators market in Europe. When you look at the States, there are 3, maybe 4 federal level operators in the whole country. In Europe, you would find 3 to 4 in each member state because the market is so fragmented. So I would look for areas of improvement or areas for improvement by creating a more unified market in areas or sectors such as telecommunications, such as energy, where we can really make it more competitive and lift the barriers of entry and barriers for companies that are present nowadays.
Yeah, energy is another one we didn't quite have the time to get to, but maybe next time. Jan Szyszko, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate your thoughts. And that concludes this edition of World News Tonight. Thank you all for joining us. Goodbye, and we'll see you next time.